In June of 2014, Dad decided he wanted to go live in Las Vegas. So Anita and I load up a trailer and off we go. First day we made 725 miles to Gallup, New Mexico. We stayed at the Red Roof Inn. They had the best beds the whole trip. Dad was so embarrassed that we shared a room that he slept in his Levi's all night. We were up early the next day, back on I-40 headed to Las Vegas. Our first real stop was Burro Creek Overlook. Burro Creek is one of the few creeks that flows year-round, undammed in the area. This is where Anita learned all about collared lizards. This is the new bridge over Hoover Dam. I don't think Anita or Dad liked it very much. From there, it's a short drive to Las Vegas. We took Dad to Gala's, unloaded the U-Haul, and returned it. That made for another long day in the truck, making 435 miles that day. Now it's off to the Las Vegas Strip for some sightseeing. After doing the drag down the new strip, we went to the old strip, now known as the Fremont Street Experience. I had some things I wanted to show Anita, like the $1 million in the old horseshoe. It was displayed in a golden horseshoe, but when Benny Binion died, his kids sold out, and now it looks like this. Not nearly as much fun. I wanted to show her the penny floor at the Plaza Hotel, so off we go. The whole cafe floor looked like this when I lived close to Vegas, but they've torn all that out now and made a casino out of it. So instead of the $1 million at the horseshoe, the penny floor at the Plaza, the 99-cent shrimp cocktails, and the awesome prime rib at the Golden Gate Casino, we were met with a very different experience.
That there were more than 24 hours in the day. Even if there were 40 more, I wouldn't sleep a minute.
From Fremont Street, it was back to the Henderson to spend the night at the Sunset Station. By that time it was 3 a.m. and well past my bedtime. That place is huge. We had a late breakfast, went to Sam's Town to see the atrium, and then off to get Dad to go to prom. This would turn out to be one of the best days, with Dad laughing so hard he could hardly catch his breath at times. It took us a while to find what we were looking for, but on our way we found the Lakeside Casino, so we stopped for lunch. They had these really cool booths, and we trapped Dad in the middle. We all ate way more than we needed to, but it was a buffet after all. Those two had way too much. Then it's off to find the brothels. Yes, that's a flashing red light arrow. Dad and Anita in front of the chicken ranch, where she earned her first dollar at a brothel. I'm not sure how she did that, but she talked him out of $1 for a kiss on the forehead. And here's the close-up. We couldn't get up the nerve to go into the Leghorn bar. Larry is still upset we didn't bring him that t-shirt. We took Dad back to Gala's and had a very sad goodbye. We talked about how bad we were going to miss Dad and how very much fun we'd had with him that day. We rolled into Mesquite later than we'd planned on being, but I wasn't missing the chance to eat oysters Rockefeller at Catherine's in the Casablanca casino, where I used to be the wedding coordinator. Anita told me she doesn't like oysters, period. She won't say that again. We stayed the night at the Virgin River, where Larry worked for years. Those were the worst beds the whole trip. From there it was a stop at the Golden West, where Larry and I were the general managers for years. I introduced Anita to the morning Bloody Mary and gambling at the bar while you eat. We took a side trip to scenic Arizona, to Larry and I's house when we lived there, with a short visit with the woman that owns it now. We went up to Elbow Canyon Road and got Anita a huge cholla skeleton to take home while she was rock hunting. Next we took the back road up over Utah Hill, where we made many stops for picture taking. The area is surrounded by lava-capped mesas and desert sage. If you look close, you can see the cattle catch pens from the road. This is an old homestead long abandoned along the creek that feeds Gunlock Lake. Even in the horrible heat that time of year, the trees are green along the creek bed. Next stop was Snow Canyon State Park, where Larry and I ran the riding stable. The stone canyon walls rise 300 feet from the floor of the canyon in places. These are the sand dunes that used to be my front yard. The Conqueror, a 1956 John Wayne movie, was filmed here. It was produced by Howard Hughes. All the stars later died of cancer from the extensive above-ground nuclear weapons testing near Area 51 in Nevada. This is Anita standing at the horseback trailhead to the back of the canyon where Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was filmed. This is where our trailer house and headquarters for the riding stables once stood. It was right behind that fence with that rock cliff as our backyard. It was on to St. George and Hurricane on our way to Bryce Canyon. The valley entrance to Bryce Canyon was lush and green. The rock formations were spectacular, but the most amazing thing of all is the tunnel that goes through the mountain. Anita filmed the whole thing. Construction of the 1.1-mile Zion Mount Carmel Tunnel began in the late 1920s and was completed in 1930. At the time the tunnel was dedicated on July 4th of 1930, it was the longest tunnel of its type in the United States. There are openings to the outside in places, but other than that it's a long dark drive. While in the construction phase, the openings were used to dump the mined rock into the canyon below. The scenery is breathtaking in the park, and the road is very narrow and winding with hairpin turns and very few pullouts. Even though there was no rain, we found one waterfall with a trickle in it. At one stop we found a cool old bristlecone pine. The tree is likely 1,000 years old. We didn't see any colored lizards here, but we found plenty of tracks. Then from out of the corner of my eye, I caught a herd of bighorns grazing in the shade near the road. The next stop was a ways up the road, but Anita ran back with the camera to get some really nice shots of them. This is a rare sight indeed. On to Jacobs Lake at the peak of the Kaibab mountain range. We stopped for the awesome cookies and to smell the pine forest. It's a short drive from there to Lee's Ferry, where we parked and walked out on the bridge to see the start of the Grand Canyon. By the time we fought our way through several stops for construction, we finally made it into Flagstaff. We spent the night in the most expensive motel the whole trip. I had to get this picture off of Google, but this is the mess of road signs that got us lost at 2 a.m. It was a short night, and we were on the road to home as the sun was coming up. One stop we had to make was at Earl's famous diner in Gallup. It was one of the highlights of the road trip for Anita. She got to have enchiladas with fried eggs on it. Anita made the 1,000-mile drive from Flagstaff to Kearney that day, getting home around 9 p.m. By that time I was hurting so bad I was glad to see the little town of Kearney come into sight. Never ever take a road trip with this woman. She will not stop to let you pee. We miss you more than you'll ever know, Dad. And we love you lots. Larry, Carla, and Anita. This video produced by Carla Demick, December 30th, 2015.